Welcome back to Weekend Express. Now, many cannot imagine living with HIV, yet 6% of Kenyans live with it every single day. Now, of this number, some were born with the virus and have had to grow and maneuver their way through life. These children over time are the focus on Health Digest of our special HIV and AIDS series by our Dr. Mercy Korir. And we start from the county of Kisumu. Let's take a look.
My name is Donning Ouma.
At 19 years, having not proceeded beyond Class 8, Donning Ouma is a talented artist trying to weave his way through life, and like some of us, his needs are unique. Daily medication that he cannot afford to skip.
She told me that I'm taking them because I got pneumonia. So I said, pneumonia as a cure, so why am I taking them every day?
He was 7 years then getting to learn of a shocking fact from his mother. He was born HIV positive at a time when disclosure and stigma around HIV and AIDS is the norm rather than the exception.
I regretted her being my mom, and I went on a drug holiday for almost 3 months.
That he can afford a smile for the pain that has been his life is not easy.
My dad passed away in 2009, and my mom also, financially stable, so I have to be just alone with my friends.
Donning shares the corners of this house with his friend, the emptiness notwithstanding.
And I set the alarm. Sometimes if I forget, he reminds me.
Lack of food, he tells me, makes compliance to his medication, an already tough task, much tougher. We accompany him to his clinic at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital in Kisumu. Donning.
We are supposed to take 4 meals, I can say that. And for now, we only have 2 meals. Yeah, sometimes 1.
This service is offered free to the thousands of people living with HIV, solves half of their problems, one of the pharmaceutical technologists explains.
One of our clients came complaining that if she takes some drug on an empty stomach, she complains much about vomiting. I had to advise her that this drug is good when you take it with the meals.
Donning knows the challenges too well. Sleeping on an empty stomach is no news to him. What if they had to buy the drugs?
Your preference will be food first, and then you'll go to the medications. So the mortality rates will go really high.
Donning is one of the almost 8,000 clients Dr. Wafula serves, and I ask her how much these drugs cost.
A minimum of, say, around 3,000 Kenyan shillings per month if you buy the generic.
This clinic sees children, adolescents, youth and adults on a weekly basis. The demand is high and the clients' needs huge.
Whatever they tell us, we see they cannot afford.
Paul Abuto is the nurse in charge of the clinic and has seen many clients fall behind because they could not afford the general tests that, unlike HIV-specific tests like viral load or CD4 count, are not donor-funded.
We see the life expectancy has gone down, and it is averagely up to 50 years, of which earlier on it used to be at 70. Now if they will really pull out, and there will be no assistance like for getting the ARVs, I'm foreseeing a very bad situation.
That is the sad reality of the 6% of Kenyans living with HIV, dependent on donor funds to stay alive, literally. The cost of accessing life-saving antiretroviral therapy for some can be a treacherous journey. Back home, Donning takes stock of his medication while wondering how to achieve a holistic management of his situation.
For now, I just look for how we're going to eat, how we're going to take shower, because we have to buy soap, water is expensive. It has rise to 5 shillings per kibuyu. There are some shows around, so I have to like draw, go and showcase, and I can get something from there.
Dawning, though, has not lost hope of a new dawn. His dreams are grand if he gets away to a secondary school.
I wanted to be a cameraman. I wanted to do ICT because I'm most interested in those gadgets.
Dr. Mercy Korir for Health Digest, KTN News.
Well, that report by Dr. Mercy Korir forms the basis of our conversation this morning. And in studio with me is Johnston Kuya, who is the National Coordinator of the Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights Alliance. Johnston, many thanks for joining us in studio.
Thank you,
and so you've watched that report by Dr. Mercy Korir. It is a part of a 3-part series that we've begun here on KTN News. Let's begin with the challenges that are facing children living with HIV.
Yeah, I think I want to appreciate really Dr. Korir for really creating time to really highlight the plight of young people who are living with the HIV/AIDS, because in her story, most of the from the part 1 that I've seen is like they are acquired perinatally from their mother for their mothers to children.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the challenges that really affects young people living with HIV/AIDS is stigma. First of all, there is self-stigma, because most often there is always disclosure element.
Right.
And most parents are not really either ready or adequately enough trained to be able to disclose to their children about
their status.
And this is because maybe some of the parents feel guilty that maybe they have infected their child, or also they don't know the outcome that might really come as a result of their children knowing their status.
Right.
So this is one of the challenges as young people face, how to be able to deal with stigma that is really in the country. And I was interacting with one of my colleagues in the office, and we were looking at a report, and you'll be surprised that stigma is really high in Kenya at this era, despite all these years after the HIV/AIDS was declared in Kenya.
Right.
We are looking at around 60% according to the stigma index, and majority of this of the people actually are saying that for those who have HIV/AIDS, 44% is that they are promiscuous. Actually, they're associating HIV,
your status is promiscuity.
Yeah, and then also around 61% they're saying is only for people who are really bad. They're like immoral, like a curse as a result of bad behavior. So this is one of the challenges. And then the other thing, of course, from the series you can see is about poverty, the socioeconomic status within the families, because some of these young people, some of they're orphans, some of their parents have died. They are living in very deplorable states, in formal settlements, affording even a basic meal. You've seen from the story that you need like at least 4 meals a day, but because of the side effects of the medication. Again, also the side effects of medication is also something that is really a challenge to them, because most of them have competing priorities like going to school, so they tend to forget
how to go about it. But let's go back a little bit and focus on the mother-to-child transmission. At what point does medication begin?
Okay, I think that's a very good question. And medication begins because currently we have, of course, the government has introduced new guidelines. Of course, that as soon as you are tested and you are tested positive, you are supposed to begin medication immediately. So that is the guideline at the moment. But what affects really medication is also the issue to do with disclosure that I've talked about, because most parents actually started medication. So some of the children are taking medication, but they are not aware
why they're taking
they are taking medication. This is for pneumonia, this is for what. So that one can also be can also affect adherence when it comes to the children taking medication. So that is also very critical. But at the moment, of course, we have the national guidelines, I think, for disclosure, and I come from reproductive health and rights background, and we are looking at these young people. They have the right for information. They have the right to be informed about their status. They have the right to receive highest attainable standards of health as per our constitution. So the guidelines, of course, talk about 18 years when it is an adult, that when you're supposed to really have disclosure and then you can be able to access medication. But what we are saying that young people and all these adolescents, they contribute to a very large number of new HIV infections. At the moment, of course, if you look at 15 to 24, 51% of the new infection. So we are saying that there's need to really push the government to train the healthcare workers to be able, and even the parents, so that they can be able to address the issue of disclosure, so that young people and the adolescents can access these drugs.
Medication a bit better. But then the quagmire still remains for those who are born with the disease. And you know, I mean, living with this disease at the ages of 1, 2, 3, all the way to, I mean, the age of 18 years old. I mean, when we were children, we had, you know, syrup as opposed to, you know, swallowing tablets. So is there innovation and, you know, scientific innovation to ensure that the HIV medication that they're supposed to take is child-friendly? Because, I mean, children do not like swallowing pills whatsoever. No,
it's true. I think everyone, the issues of pill taking, and also because we have, when it comes to drugs, we have pill, we have the way the drugs are, they look like, the tastes, the way the number of pills you take per day. So at the moment, I think it depends. We have various regimens that are given to these young people who are living with HIV/AIDS. It depends, either if it's first line, second line, and third line, depending on your adherent rate. But at the moment, I think recently the government launched a drug recently to be able to address the issue of this adherence when it comes to taking the drugs, because young people, when because they're overwhelmed by the number of tablets they take every day, and then some of these drugs, they have a lot of side effects, and then they have not eaten, they have not, all these issues of stigma, so it becomes difficult for them to really
continue adhering to the drug.
So in terms of scientific innovations, I think we are moving there.
We are moving there. But of course, that is, I mean, something that really needs to be looked into. But of course, the report by Dr. Mercy Korir is on children born with HIV a while back. I mean, they're now about the ages of 15 to 19. So that was a while back. But I mean, 15 years later, and we're speaking of mother-to-child transmission of HIV. Is this an issue of really civic education out there? Because I understand there is, you know, scientific advancements today. You can be HIV positive and give birth to an HIV negative baby. What are the rates of mother-to-child transmission as we speak right now?
Yeah, in terms of mother-to-child transmission, it's about 70 to 80. We are not
which
yet,
is pretty high.
We are not yet there, and it varies across the different counties. It varies. You can see from the recent statistics, the counties in central Kenya really.
So what is it then that Kenyans do not know, especially those who are positive? What is it they don't know about preventing transmission to the child?
The issue is about awareness, awareness creation. Nowadays, when a mother goes to a clinic during her antenatal clinics, she is tested and counseled, and then if she's positive, she's introduced to the drug immediately. So that is something that has not really happened. That is happening, of course. Kenya, we are doing well, but we are not yet there, like countries like Cuba, which have really achieved EMTC rate to almost 0 point something. So what we need is to have these support groups among the pregnant women and the mothers and even adolescents, everyone, that they need to be, if you are pregnant, you need to be tested for HIV/AIDS, be on medication immediately, and then adhere to the drugs, adhere to the drugs, and then you'll be able to reduce all these issues of mother to child transmission.
Now,
yes.
I understand there's been a new technology when it comes to HIV/AIDS. In terms of the medication, there are countries that have boiled it down to one pill, which further, ensures adherence to medication. Is this something that is in Kenya yet?
Yes, I think the one that the government recently launched, I think it was one tablet, GTR. This antiretroviral drug supposed to be a one tablet,
right,
but it's also taken by a combination of at least 2 other drugs. So this is a milestone for Kenya. I think it's among the first sub-Saharan African countries to roll out this drug. Yeah.
All right, and finally, of course, when it comes to, like you mentioned, the disclosure rules for children with HIV is about 18 years old. But children ask questions.
Yes.
They'll constantly ask, why am I taking this medication? What is wrong with me? So in terms of disclosing the status to a child who is under the age of 18, what do parents need to take into consideration? Is there issues of counseling maybe that may need to be done after that?
Yeah, I think living with HIV/AIDS is not easy. Because of the drugs and also the conditions. You have a lot of your immune system is compromised, so you have a lot of opportunistic infections. Sometimes your memory, sometimes your body doesn't really respond because it is because of the HIV infection. So when it comes to disclosure, what parents really need to understand is that having HIV is not the end of life. It's not the end of life, and at the moment we appreciate for the advancement in medicine and technology that you can be able to have drugs that you can be able to when you take them, you just live your normal life and everything goes on well. So parents need to really understand the positive aspects of disclosure, so that young people, when they are starting the medication, they have to be told the reason why they're taking medication, why they are supposed to take medication every day, even the side effects of medication that might come, so that in case of any change of regimen, you can be able to
also monitor the same from your child.
Monitor the same information. So I think it's about the positive aspects of disclosure when it comes to
your child. All right, thank you so much, Johnson. Of course, we'll be having you back as we continue with this 3-part series right here, and that will be on Weekend Express. Johnson Kuya is the National Coordinator of the Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights Alliance. Let's take a short break now. It is 38 minutes past the hour. You're watching a Weekend Express, and it's not over yet. When we come back, we will be speaking to a Kenyan marketer by profession who has launched a new innovation which he says might just cure corruption in the country. Stay with us.